Hello. Sorry, I'm not real professional, but yeah. Welcome to my home. You will see many strange things here. I have seen many strange things already, Count. Thank you. Thank you. That was Bram Stoker's Dracula. If you haven't seen that movie, I don't understand or know you. Anyway, um, this is not about movies. This is a music review. And the album I'm going to be reviewing today is KORN. 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 KORN's new album, Serenity, The Serenity of Suffering. Ah, awesome. Ball busting. Exhilarating. Catastrophic. Uh, yeah, this album is great. And I say that because it's great. Um, and I haven't said that about a KORN album in like forever, like since '90s. Um, but I have to say that this album is a far cry from their previous albums, recent albums. It's more of the original KORN sound. We all know that Head. Well, we all may not know that, but people that are involved in the metal world know that Brian Head Welch, one of their original guitar players, left for a few years and um, went and found God. He's a Christian now, and I think that's really cool. Um, him and Fieldy are Christians now. Anyway, I won't talk about that too much. I've seen some behind the scenes stuff, and they do some prayer stuff at their shows now and stuff, like after the show or whatever with kids and stuff. I thought that was really cool. Anyway, let's get back to the album review. If you don't, I'm just going to touch on nu metal a little bit. If you don't know what nu metal is, look it up on Google. That's it. No. Yeah. So nu metal was basically a radio metal that came out in the mid '90s. Bands like KORN, Limp Bizkit. I said Limp Bizkit. I hate those guys. Anyway, hate's a strong word. I dislike their music very much. Very, very, very much. Always have, always will, and always did. Have and did kind of go together. Anyway, Deftones were lumped into that for a couple of their albums, but they broke away from the nu metal scene, thank God. And they really established themselves in a whole nother genre, kind of like, they're basically like shoegaze rock. I wouldn't even call them metal anymore. But this isn't about the Deftones, even though I love them so much and they're a great band. Much better than KORN. But I do love this new album by KORN. It's called Serenity of Suffering. I think I mentioned that. The first 5 songs on this album are ball busting. Ball busting. The last 6 songs on this album are ball breaking. There is a difference. I have to say their lead singer Jonathan. I hate saying lead singer because like their singer. It's kind of like saying a hind catcher in baseball. It's just a catcher. Anywho, I digress. Yeah, Jonathan Davis. Very, very awesome vocally on this album. I, like his guttural screams on this album. His screams. I mean, Jonathan Davis doesn't really scream much anymore, but on this album he does it quite a bit, and the his screams are the best I've ever heard. I think I just spit a little bit, but anyway, his screams are amazing on this album. I was like, what? I mean, with the first opening song on this album is called Insane, and it's also one of their singles off the album. It's just, he's awesome on that song. He's pretty much awesome on the whole album. His singing, um, some of his singing I've never really liked. Like kind of when he whines and stuff, I'm not really into that. But like, when he can sing, he can actually sing, and when he sings, he does well with it. But like I said, his screams on this album are freaking awesome. They're emotional. You can feel them. You can feel the anger behind them. And I want to touch on that a little bit. The album name is called Serenity of Suffering, and I watched a interview with Head Monkey or Brian Head Welch. He described the name of that album in a really cool way, and he was saying, you find peace after suffering. We all know serenity is another word for peace, basically. And that's how he described it. Sometimes you have to go through the suffering to get to the peace. And whether it be self-inflicted suffering from bad decisions, whether it be suffering from losing someone, whether it be suffering from life in general. We all go through our own sufferings, and you can definitely find peace on the other side. And I like the name of the album. And let's just go through some of the tracks on the album. Insane, like I mentioned, is the opener track. Oh, amazing song, amazing song. Lyrically, musically, it's just awesome. I do have them written down because I haven't memorized all the songs, but I know which ones they are. I can't see because that light's got little dots, and I'm seeing dots. Rotting in Vain is number 2, which was also a single. That was the first song I heard off this album on the radio, and I was like, holy crap, Korn's back. And, I was a little weary of saying that because we all know how bands can be hype up an album and they put it out and it sounds like crap. And maybe, a single off the album's good. But, the first 3 singles that they released off this album were Rotting in Vain, Insane, and A Different World by Corey Taylor from Slipknot does vocals in that song with Jonathan Davis. That's a solid song. Not quite as heavy as Rotting in Vain and Insane, but still a really solid song. And, I haven't been into new metal in like forever because pretty much new metal died. But KORN has managed to stay around for 20 plus years, and this was a make it or break it type album in my opinion. And they put, some new elements into it to keep it fresh. It's not like, oh, here's another new metal album. Monkey and Head, when Head left, KORN really went downhill because Monkey and Head are like the backbone of this band. They play so well together from playing together forever, and they kind of feed off each other. And Fieldy is back to his slapping on the bass, and it's just it really sounds like a lot of elements of old KORN, and that's what they were good at. So why not stay with that? I'm not saying bands shouldn't experiment, but don't get too far off track of what works for you. And bands say, well, we were experimenting and stuff, and we were just trying new things, and nobody listens to us anymore. Well, that's because you left what you're good at. Now, there are a few exceptions like Deftones. Deftones have been around just about as long as KORN has, and they are one of the bands that experimented and actually got better by experimenting and actually gained more fans. And I love the Deftones. I think I mentioned that. But you know, some bands just don't do it well, and KORN did not do it well at all. Dubstep album, horrible album. They put out a dubstep album. Yes, they did, and it was wretched. It was wretched. Anyway, go get this album, download it, whatever you do. I might actually buy the album because there are a few bands that I still buy albums off of. Tool being one of them, Deftones, KORN. Some of the heavier bands that I listen to, some of the lighter bands that I listen to. Speaking of Tool, I wish they'd come out with a freaking new album already. We're tired of waiting. Maynard's a prick, though. Anyway, yeah. So let me cover the last six just a little bit. Like I said, the last six are a little bit lackluster, but they're still awesome songs. Die Yet Another Night, solid song. I love that song. Please Come For Me, that's the last song on the album. I love that song. It's almost like they went from angry in the first 5 songs to a little bit more somber, but I don't even like to use the word somber because they're not really, I mean, they still got that heavy feel, but they're just a little bit more, you know how you go from like being angry to like sad, kind of. That's kind of what it's like. But anyway, hope you had a good time. I hope you enjoyed this a lot. And I'll be around to put out some more. Because I like doing this. It's fun. Anyway. I will give this album 4 out of 5 drumsticks. Yes, I said 4 out of 5 drumsticks. And that's really, really a lot. Because, like I said, I mean, I haven't listened to KORN in a long time. I mean, like, really listen to them. I check out their songs when they come out, their new albums, and they've just not been great in the past 8 years or so. But this album, I love it. Oh, I forgot to mention number 3 on the album, Black is the Soul. It's got some awesome lyrics. I know, you know, it sounds dark and scary and all that crap, but the lyrics are actually uplifting, I want to say, kind of. And it's just talking about, like, you know, we go through dark times, and that's my favorite song on the album, though. But anyway, 4 out of 5 drumsticks. Serenity of Suffering, new album by KORN. Check it out. Peace.